hello, welcome. I'm Peggy, and I'm in the kitchen. And guess what? One of my very favorite people, Rhonda Matthews, is here with good food, good recipes, and of course she's from the Clemson University Cooperative Extension, and she knows a lot of good ideas and food and safety and nutrition. And how many times have we been together?
We were just chatting. We're about 30. This is number 32.
32 programs we've done, so we should get it right.
I think, hopefully, fingers crossed.
So this is tasty meals for the family, and there's good old-fashioned common sense food.
That's right. So what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at those good, hearty wintertime foods, and we're going to focus on the local and in-season vegetables as well. So we'll have a whole meal to present to your viewers. We have a meatloaf recipe.
That's right. And then what I'm interested in are the no-bake protein bites. And this would be a great after-school treat for kids, filled with nutrition. You don't even have to bake it.
That's right. So we've got a lot of yummy food to put together today. Today we're going to start with some winter squash puree. So this would probably put folks in a mind of, say, sweet potato souffle. So we've got 3 basic ingredients we're going to start with, and the first one is winter squash, and this one happens to be an acorn squash. Now,
and you just cut it in bite-sized pieces.
That's right. I've peeled it. And this is actually only half of it. This was a giant squash. So I peeled that, seeded it, and cut it into small portions.
Okay, and it is just, you know, boiling here in some...
That's right. That's just water.
And there's nothing else in the water.
That's it. Plain old, plain old. The other thing is maybe like a double handful of just carrots, and I've cut them into about the same size. So in that
and you know, you can buy those little carrots.
Oh, that's what that is?
You don't even have to bother to cut them.
That's right. So the last ingredient is a little bit more of a sweet punch, and this is simply an apple that I've peeled and cut into pieces.
You took the peeling off.
I did, because we're going to puree it, and if we'd left the peel on...
Now, what kind of an apple is it?
This one is a gala, but whatever you happen to have on hand is what you ought to use. Do, please. And we'll get that simmering away, and we'll let it sit there and get tender, and it'll probably take 10-15 minutes. So as we work through our other recipes, that will do its thing. That's right. So you've got a lot of sweet taste going on in there. So that's where we get that idea of that sweet potato souffle. This is not quite as syrupy sweet as that, but it's
winter squash souffle.
So that will certainly be nice for your taste buds. Another local and in-season vegetable that we see a lot of right now is the next thing that we're going to take a look at, and that is kale. So it's hard to look at Facebook or Pinterest or any of them without seeing something about kale and how to cook it or how good it is for you.
The darker the color of a vegetable, the more nutrients are in it.
That is exactly right.
And kale and spinach, those are the things that are better for you.
That's right. Now, all I've done ahead of time is I rinsed this really well. With any greens that you cook with, you know, I grew up, my mom and grandma always said you want to wash all the greens in 3 waters, which means you change the water 3 times. Make sure that all the grit is gone off of it. So we're going to make sure that this is well washed, which it is, and then we're going to go down to about that size, and it'll cook quickly. So we've got our pan preheated. We're going to add just a little bit of olive oil.
Good for you.
I'm going to put you in charge of being my cooker. So we're going to do a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and all that's really going to serve as is, here it going.
Ooh.
Woo-woo! That water and that oil started talking to each other. And it's going to wilt down very, very quickly.
Now, how much kale would you use?
Well, typically you want to do maybe like about, if you're going to feed a family of 4, about 4 cups raw, and it'll cook down until you'll get that nice portion that you're looking for when you're ready to go to the table. So our pan calmed down. I know it's almost tried to jump out and bite us.
It did.
So we're going to give that a quick stir. This cooks down very quickly, not as quick as spinach, but it cooks down quickly. I have a lot of folks ask me about kale, and if you're going to do a dish like this, the smaller the portion, the quicker it'll cook. The smaller the leaf size, the quicker it cooks. But I also wanted to show you, if you look at these two leaves, you can see if you ever see it labeled as baby kale, you'll know it's baby kale because it'll be super curly on the edges.
Well,
this one's a little bit thicker, a little bit less curly, and that's basically the difference. But kale is kale when it comes down to it.
Is this boiling enough, Rhonda?
Well, it should be. We'll pull it back up a little bit more. So we'll add this in. There we go. Very nice. We're gonna, the only way we really look at seasoning our kale dish is a little bit of salt and pepper, and you do that to taste. So there we go. A little bit of pepper.
All right.
There we go.
And very little olive oil in there.
Yep. So we've got, this is essentially the vegetable. There's just not a whole lot left. So we've got less than a teaspoon of salt in there. We've got just a healthy portion of olive oil, which is one of the healthiest oils that you can use when you cook. Very heart healthy. And you can see that nice bright green color is jumping up there. So we've got...
Now, what would you serve this with?
Well, today we're going to do the sweet vegetable, the savory vegetable, and we're going to put this with a meatloaf recipe, and we'll get to that in just a few seconds. But any kind of meat, this goes beautifully with.
Chicken or fish or anything.
You bet. Anything. What a lot of folks will also use this in their soup. So if you're doing like a bean soup, this you don't even have to saute it first. Just small bite-sized pieces. Shred it down real good into small portions, and in it goes. And as it warms, it cooks, and very, very tasty.
Dude, that's
not far. Look how from being ready, and look how quickly that came together. I'm a big proponent of cook it quick so you can get to the eating part. So I'm not very interested in staying in the kitchen all day and all night.
That's what I love about it.
Very nice. So I see our boil has come back on our other pot. This is almost ready to pull off the heat. Now, if you like a little bit of bite to it, pull it a little sooner. If you like it just cooked down to no resistance when you bite into it, just a little bit longer. Now think about the volume we started out with.
Yeah.
And it's come down to almost just a little bit in the bottom of the pan. So it cooks very quickly. And
you really don't put anything on this.
This'll do it. It's just a real quick saute. It is right now. So if you decided you wanted to eat, and you can do tons, very versatile vegetable. I mean, can of tomatoes, can of beans in there, and you've got a soup. Or if you want to throw in a handful of spinach or a handful of raw cabbage and stretch this volume out even further, you can go with mixed kind of greens. So very, very versatile. If you want to go ahead and portion up,
you think it's ready?
That will work.
Okay.
Now, typically when you serve greens in the South, you top it with some kind of acid. So a little bit of either lemon juice or a little bit of vinegar or hot pepper sauce. And this is just a yummy flavor. Boy, that is beautiful on the plate.
Oh, that's ready to eat now.
Yeah, it smells pretty doggone good.
This would go with hamburgers. I mean, it would be, you know.
Oh, yeah. Now,
now, wait a minute, turn this burner off.
I will.
So we don't have
it's
a fire.
Off now.
Okay.
All right, so as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull this out of the way so that we don't have to talk on top of a hot pan. So we've got our greens ready. We've got our winter vegetables coming together nicely, and it won't take those many more. You can see they're really doing the trick there.
I love the apple in there. Apples and carrots.
Can't go wrong, can you? A little
No.
fruit, a little
Yeah.
vegetable. If you want to, let's pull something out of the oven there, and
All
we'll
right.
show our viewers
All right.
what you got over there.
Whoops.
There we go. Beautiful.
Let me put this
Right
in
there.
Right there. Ooh, there
So
we go.
here's our meatloaf, and what I wanted to share is this is a basic meatloaf recipe.
That
Nothing.
is so pretty.
Well, and I wanted to tell folks, you can see this is in one of the disposable throwaway pans. When you make this recipe, by all means, double it. Put a portion in the disposable pan, wrap it over good, freeze it, and that's a meal ready to go
Wait a
for
minute,
when
is
you come
this the
home.
recipe doubled?
No, no,
This
that's
is-
one recipe.
This is one recipe. So
That's
you're
right.
suggesting to people that if you're going to the trouble to make it,
That's right.
double the recipe, and then you have another meal.
That's right. Then you've got a frozen meal in the freezer, and all you need to do is pull it out, thaw it overnight, pull it out the night before, let it sit in the fridge
that's
overnight.
great.
When you come home, ploop, right in the oven, and just go do your
Heat
thing.
it up and you're ready.
That's right.
But
So
look how pretty the meatloaf is with the.
it's really nice.
You have made me hungry.
Well, this is a pretty doggone good recipe. Now, if
Do you
you'll
have-
steady my plate for me,
Which plate?
you got it. Either one.
I'll do both of
It's
them.
going to take two good brains here. There we go. Now she's coming out.
Now.
All right,
okay.
so this particular mixture of ingredients, we've got a couple of eggs, 3/4 of a cup of milk, half a cup of some kind of crumb. This specific meatloaf has got, I whirled up some quick cooking oats in here so that you can't see the oatmeal. If you've got a picky pants 8-year-old at your house like I do, if he sees something in there that he thinks,
Oh, I don't want that.
yeah, so I turned it into the invisible oatmeal. So, but if you
Okay.
want saltines, if you want breadcrumbs,
Okay.
oatmeal, any
All
of
right.
those, half a chopped onion, that goes into the mix. And
Just
then,
chop up some onion and a couple of eggs.
that's it, and then 1.5 pounds of meat. This has got half a pound of pork and 1 pound of beef in it. If you've got venison in the freezer, if your husband's a hunter,
So you could put
Pull it.
anything, or you could use all hamburger. It
You
doesn't
bet.
matter.
You
Whatever.
just want 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Look
so
at that.
we're going to cut that, and if you'll let it, once it comes out of the oven, and it'll take an hour, give or take, to cook, then let it sit for about 10 minutes, and it won't crumble when you cut
and
it.
that's about 350.
More or less, yes
yeah.
ma'am. So you may see on your oven that it takes just a few more minutes. If your oven runs a little slower, oh boy, look at that meatloaf. That looks yummy.
Now look.
So-
let me just. This is beautiful, and this is what I call sensible, common sense food. Not fancy, nutrition, and it's easy. And people are busy. This is what we're looking for right now. And of course, this is great for cold weather. It just says wintertime. And if you would like these folders, they're free, thanks to Rhonda Matthews and Clemson University. And send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Peggy Denny Show, Post Office Box 1616, Greenville, South Carolina, 29602. And the recipe number is 853. Or you can click on peggydenny.com, and hopefully we will have it on there for you. So remember the recipe number, 853. Now we're going to go to a quick break, and you got to see this. Wait a minute. This is what I'm waiting for. These little protein bites that you don't even have to bake, but what that would mean if your child comes home from school, give them something worthwhile. We'll be right back.